Alright everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today we have something I think you just may like, it's Christmas time, hearts warming, so without further ado, A Very Cheesy Christmas, written by The Shade. Chapter 1, Glorious Leader. Author's note: I don't know, don't ask. 'Twas a smelly Christmas morning. The wad of fat had just rolled out of his bed and was merrily making his way down the stairs, ignoring the creaking of the overburdened metal. Upon entering his lair of comfort, the kitchen, he discovered a shocking revelation. They were out of Cheetos. He cried for his mother, but there was no response. Desperate, the wad of fat hobbled up the stairs, barely able to breathe from the exhaustion it took out of him. His arms were too tired to open the door, so he merely walked into it until the wall collapsed. Kicking the rubble out of the way, he found his trusty 1871 underwear that he had inherited from his grandfather's grandfather, whom in turn stole them from a hobo in a dumpster cage fight. But alas, our dear hero realized that he couldn't waddle to the store with his chest bare, so he swallowed his pride, bent over, put the underwear on, and put it up to his own chin. On his way out the door, he realizes that, as the group leader of the anonymous hacking group, he couldn't show his face in public. He fell on the floor in despair and started rolling to his parents' bedroom, where they had confiscated his black and gold anonymous mask. Coming up from the roll, a bunch of dog hair had attached to his greasy blonde head in the shape of a fedora, and that's how he knew that the time was right for some Cheetos. He sneaks past his sleeping father. After all, he's groggy if he's woken up mid-noon. Sneaking around with the grace of an elephant on bath salts, our anonymous hero managed to sneak his rightful mask off of the top shelf, where it was hidden, but not to the great anonymous leader. He considered stealing some cash, but as the anonymous leader, surely no one would dare oppose him in his free samples of Cheetos. As quietly as a meteor crashing into a volcano, he snuck out the door. He didn't want his mother to worry, so he sat on the floor before leaving so she'd know that he would be back shortly. Surely she would notice the lack of Cheetos in the poo and realize where he went. The house he did indeed leave, and he was shocked to breathe unfiltered air. How dare they, forcing glorious anonymous king leader to breathe this peasant air. With a huff, he started making his way down the misty highway. He didn't look out for traffic, as the incoming trucks were crushed under his mere presence and odor. He spreads his legs wide and begins his national glorious leader march, letting his balls swing freely. The town realized what was happening as he was about 5 miles away when the odor hit them. The smell of unwashed greasy hair, body odor of unkempt kind, and a very distinctive smell of Mountain Dew with Cheeto flavor. The townsfolk was in panic. They knew something must be done, and from the speed that glorious leader was moving at, they had till morning sun. They called up the police, but they were powerless to stop his march. In a full 3 hours, he managed to move almost a mile. They were shocked, and now the ground started vibrating every other second, and the odor was so strong that all the plant life in the area had died. He knew that time was short. Mother would soon wake up. With a roar that only a retard on speed could create, he started charging. The police yelled at him to stop, having just come out of their cars, but it was too late. He opened his arms, and he let the odor flow. The police shot in a panic, but all it did was add to the mass that was Glorious Leader. In shock, they threw their guns and started running, but it too only added to the mass of Glorious Leader. The shop was in sight for Glorious Leader now, and with the shriek of a T-Rex losing his anal virginity to a jet plane, he started to charge. Of course, for those observing Glorious Leader's body mass, he was only going at walking speeds. But Glorious Leader realized that he would not get there in time, so he stopped and pulled out a piece of greasy paper and started writing something with his own feces. Thinking quickly, Glorious Leader manages to break into the fourth dimension with a complex formula that no ordinary human would even comprehend. In the fourth dimension, he began going supersonic, but sadly, he went too fast. He collided with the world, and the world was consumed. Suddenly, the world imploded, and he found himself in a colorful land filled with happiness. His sensitive, five-tuned nose sniffed the air when a realization set in on him. There was no Cheetos to be found. He started sweating, animals dying by the thousands in mere milliseconds from his arrival. Meanwhile, Celestia was about to invent Cheetos when she felt the tremor of space-time colliding, erupting, and then ejaculating something into their world. Something that had no business being here. In a panic, she realized what was happening and whispered,
"No, it cannot be. The end times have come."
Her voice as quiet as 10 mice on an elephant. And then the odor hit her. Her superior durability was nothing as her untrained senses were overwhelmed, and her brain imploded on the spot. The man was in the now dead woods, and he had fashioned his greasy dogshit fedora into a much fancier squirrel trilby. Ponyville had already burnt to the ground in the presence of the Glorious One's arrival, and all the inhabitants either succumbed to his greatness or melted. Millions are dead, earthquakes are shaking what's left of the population, and the dragons have all gone insane from the mere thought of his glorious presence.
"No Cheetos!"
He roars to the skies and takes a deep breath, bending forwards. The gurgling of his insides is heard all across the universe, and far away on an alien planet, a family of 5 gathers in their living room and looks towards the source of the sound. The children are crying, the husband is holding his wife tight, and they say,
"We will leave this world together."
With the sound of space-time being permanently devoured and then destroyed, the universe collapses into itself. There's more than a gazillion deaths in just a blink of an eye. God is dead. Long live Anonymous. As the fart finishes, he feels another gurgling.
"Oh, too many Cheetos!"
He roars, and a new universe forces its way out from between his buttocks. A universe where Anonymous is God. Long live Anonymous. The glorious King Anonymous, the true God, turns to you, viewer, and tips his greasy fedora with a smile of rotten teeth and whispers,
"I'll be seeing you tonight, mother."
The And
Holy crap, this fanfiction was awesome! Best fanfiction, 10 out of 10. Best in the world!
Yeah, you know it. I gotta love them all, yeah.
I don't even know what I was doing here.
Oh, you knew what you were doing when you picked this story, milady.
Okay. Alright, thank you for watching, every pony. Make sure you, tell other ponies about the ponies, because ponies